Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo. King isn't here this week again. I guess he's still out in the Jersey headquarters. But we have been in contact with each other, and we're slowly getting to that point that we're gonna give the new idea of how to connect with each other a go. But other than that, how was everybody's week? My past week was pretty good. Nothing, same old stuff, kind of boring. Worked all weekend. Did a lot of drinking, like I usually do. Played a lot of hockey, some football. But enough of that. Let's get the social media things out of the way here. You can follow me on Twitter at jimbo_st_sports. You could also follow the show. It's at ST Sports Podcast. I've been trying to be a little more active with that, with stories and different types of clips, video clips that may not get recognized on ESPN or any of the other major outlets. And then you could also follow King at King of Skunk Duck. And go over his Twitter handle and even his Facebook. He's got some pretty nice shirts out there. He's got one out this past week. It's more of a wrestling one for the wrestler Bailey, cute girl. Something happened, I guess, Monday Night Raw or over the weekend. I can't remember what King said, but he made one, and it's taken off pretty good. You can see some of the other stuff he sells also there. But also follow us on Facebook. Like us, share us, say hi, comment, do whatever you want. Just like to hear from you guys. See what you guys think about the show. Kind of a slow week now with the hockey season over, and basketball finals are over, and basically now we got the LeBron finals to watch out for. The whole is over, so it's a lot of the only thing really is the World Cup and baseball. World Cup I really haven't followed at all. I'm not a real big soccer fan, but if you follow King on Twitter, he's into it. His German team lost, poor guy. But we're gonna talk a little baseball, majority football, NFL, and also a new league, the American Flag Football League, which I'm curious to see about. I'm pretty sure. I think I actually also saw, speaking of football, a couple of days ago, we got about 100 more days till the regular season, which sounds like a lot, but if you break it down to months, you only really have 3 more months. And I'm looking to Notre Dame season. Me and King are big Notre Dame fans, and kind of excited about that season. See how that season comes about. But one story that popped up, getting into the show here, like I said, we're going to talk a little baseball here about the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. So I saw this story pop up, I think it was about 2 days ago. The headline was, reliever plays first base, or something along those lines. I'm like, oh, okay. So I click it to see what was going on. And after reading it, I mean, the head coach of the Devil Rays, Kevin Cash, it was top of the ninth. They were up 1-0, and he had a dilemma he was facing of the next three batters were lefty, righty, and lefty, and he wanted his reliever, closer, whatever he is. He wanted him to face the two lefties, but the problem was that there was a righty in between both of them. So how do I have him face both guys? So like I said, 1-0 lead, top of the ninth. He brings in Jose Alvarado, who's the lefty that he wanted to face the two batters. Brought him in. Bryce Harper was the first batter, and ended up walking him. So he got a little creative. Ended up putting Alvarado on first base. Moved the first baseman out to the outfield and took one of the outfielders out of the game. Brought in Chaz Rowe to face the right-hander. Got him out. Took Chaz Rowe out of the game. Brought Alvarado back to the mound. Brought the first baseman from the outfield back to first base. And actually Alvarado almost lost the game for them. They ended up loading up the bases. Ended up winning the game 1-0. But so I started digging a little bit. I'm thinking, another story popped up about the Rays is this season. I guess they have been known to do these type of things, type of plays. They've had a couple games where they actually started the game with their relievers or closers and brought their starting pitchers into the game to finish out the game. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that's actually kind of smart and creative. I mean, you got teams coming in, game planning against, for starting pitchers, and you're throwing, no pun intended, a curveball at them by starting pitchers that would close the game out for you and ending the game with starting pitchers. I mean, I started thinking a little bit more. I'm like, I can't believe no one else ever thought about this idea. Well, turns out I was wrong. You also had Joe Girardi last year, and I forgot about this one. Had to do it because his bullpen at the time was, ravaged by injuries. So, he had to bring an infielder onto the mound to pitch, or he put a pitcher out in right field. I'm pretty sure there's a video out there that the pitcher caught a fly ball up against the fence, like almost as if he stole the home run away from the batter. Joe Madden from the Cubs is another one that has been known to put players where they're known to play in different positions. And also, the Astros did it in 2014. So, I wonder if, you think back in the 90s. I mean, in the 90s I was, 15, going on 20 years old, and that's the first time I ever heard of a utility man, which, would be your shortstop, your second baseman, that, they could play 4 or 5 different positions. Makes you wonder if utility man is going to even be a bigger part now. Sign a first baseman that can pitch, can come off the first base and close the game out for you. It's like Babe Ruth used to do back in the day. He was a first baseman and starting pitcher and all that stuff. And a great hit, a home run hitter, a great home run hitter, I'll say that. But makes you, if the other thing, if you watch some of the games nowadays, and this type of play I can't stand, is the shift. It makes you wonder, where is baseball going in the next few years with all these different type of plays? It's not your classic type, ball game anymore. I understand there's a lot of strategy and everything, and this was a smart strategy by the Devil Rays. And when I read it, I thought, that has to be illegal. How can you move a pitcher to the first base and then move him back? And then, basically the rule is he was still in the games, kind of like, Little League, or, if you have kids that play minors, you could take your starting pitcher out, put him at shortstop, bring the shortstop in to pitch. That's basically all he did, and, they won the game because of it. It's very smart and creative. I'm curious to see if the second half of the season, if the teams start catching on to this, to figure out how to beat the Rays. With this type of game that they're playing, that way. Speaking of playing games, one person that's not going to be playing any NFL games anytime soon is Jameis Winston. I touched on it a little bit last week, and about the suspension possibly coming, and the incident of him groping a Uber driver and all that stuff. Well, came out yesterday that he's been suspended the first 3 games of the 2018 season. And when I was reading some of the stories that the writers were putting out there, I'm actually worried about this guy. He is talented. I don't think he's nothing great. He's a good he's a good quarterback. I'm not going to take that away from him. But the problem is, he's always involved with something, some type of incident. This one happened. I think 2016 is when this happened, and the NFL just finally got done investigating it. But any other type of story, they're real quick to make a judgment on. But with this story here, with him, violating the player conduct policy, the one thing that stood out to me that the NFL is serious with him was the fact that if he gets accused or involved in another incident again, he could face a lifetime ban from the league. And that's a shame that here's a guy that's only 25, 26 years old. He's going into his 4th, 5th year, and he's already, like a Pac-Man Jones back in the day, or Michael Irvin back in the day, or some of those other guys that just always was getting in trouble with the law or with the league. He had a couple incidents back in college. He had the one sexual assault accusation that never brought charges. I understand it's an accusation, but again, did something really happen? Why was he putting himself in a bad situation again? Okay, you want to say he was a kid back then, fine, but why is he still doing it now? I know a lot of former players. Damian Woody was one of them I saw. Said, just cut him from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Teach him a lesson. Maybe by being cut, it would wake him up. I mean, if you look at, Johnny Manziel is probably the most recent story that you could see. Had all those issues with the Browns. They released him. No one touched him. He's been out of football now for, 2 years going on now? He's up there in CFL playing. You really haven't heard any bad stories about him. He came out and said that he's grown up and he's matured, and that sometimes maybe that's what has to happen. Is you lose your dream job, and that's the waking point. And now, during his Jameis Winston's apology or speech, whatever you want to call it. 'Cause I'm sorry, I mean, his apology was basically the typical PR comments. I'm sorry if I let my team down. I'm sorry if I let my players down. For once, I would just like to see some of these players speak from the heart. Everybody knows you let your team down. Everybody knows you let the fans down. Your family. All that stuff. Don't keep repeating it. Just man up. Talk from the heart. Don't have someone write the speech for you. Do it yourself. You did this issue. You got yourself in this situation. You fix it. Michael Vick is, kind of going back to the being cut from a team and growing up. Michael Vick is another player that grew up, and you know what? I love dogs. I have a dog myself. Had dogs all my life. I was pissed when Andy Reid signed him. That Monday night, when it came across that the Eagles signed him, I was texting my dad about it, and I was about to give up on the Eagles. How can they sign someone like this? I still don't condone what he did, but I'll give him a little tip of the hat because he hasn't been in the news for the wrong reasons anymore. He actually, I believe like a month or two ago, all the bankruptcy issues he had, he cleared that from his name now. So being cut from a team can save a person, not a football player, a person. It could go one of two ways. It could make you sit back and say, shit, I better get my stuff in order, or screw that team. I'm just going to keep being me. And if he goes that route, he will be banned from the NFL. I don't think there's a player yet that has been banned for life for conducts like this, but I know there's players about a year or two ago that were suspended for 2-3 years. I mean, you look at Aldon Smith, never got his act together. Niners released him, thought maybe they're done with that drama. I thought maybe by going to the Raiders it would wake them up, because they're the only team that wanted anything to do with them. Every 3 months. And like I said last week on the show, it's a shame because these guys are making millions and millions of dollars and they're just throwing it all away. Why? Because they think they're gods and can't be touched. Well, some of these teams have to wake up and say, you know what, how they always talk about protect the shield. Protect the shield. Cut them. Release them. Get rid of them. If they don't want to grow up, that's on them. Kind of talking about Michael Vick, leading into our next topic, is the American Flag Football League. I got a notification the other day that I watched for the first time ever on NFL Network flag football. I'm like, what? You can watch a bunch of teenagers playing flag football, down at the local, baseball field or public park or something. So I start looking into it a little bit. So it turns out that it's basically a pros versus amateur league. That's it. Basically, there's four pro teams. There's 4 amateur teams. Actually, it debuts this Saturday, June 30th, on NFL Network. And I think it's the amateur teams first. But when I was reading it, they also said that every time there's an amateur game, the following day would be the pro game, which the championship will be held July 19th in Houston, Texas. And some of the pros that are captains of the team is, Michael Vick of the Roadrunners. I'm pretty sure that the captains came up with the names. Chad Ochocinco of, can you guess it? The Ochos. Carlos Boozer of the Holdats. And Michael Johnson of the Godspeed. So it's not just the former NFL players, or it's players from all different sports, playing in this. And all the players are competing for $1 million. The amateurs are, so it's, again, it's set up as two conferences basically. You have the pros conference, which is the teams I just said, and then the amateur conference is America's team, which that's their conference, which is kind of weird, because when I saw America's team, I was thinking it's gonna be an actual team. But leading up to all this, I've been seeing clips here and there of different moves, like, in the NFL you have the spin move and the truck move. One of the weirdest agile moves I've seen with this is called the dip. And what it is, obviously with flag football, the rules are if you have one of your flags ripped off you, you're tackled. Well, with the dip, a lot of these players, what they do is, say two guys are coming at them, they'll actually almost kneel to the ground as they're running, so like when the guys are trying to rip at the flags, their flags actually go below their hands, and they're blown right past these guys. I'm just amazed of how their knee doesn't touch the ground and being down by contact. So Saturday, I'm definitely going to tune in to see what kind of rules it is. Being on an NFL Network, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have at least some decent commentators. Probably like Charles Davis and Mike Mayock. But I'm gonna follow. I'm out of the pro teams. I'm gonna go for Vic. I'm gonna root for him, because like I said, he has turned his life around. Never a big fan of Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson. I never called him by Ochocinco. You come into this world with one name, keep that name. Don't make it cartoonish. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this holds up, and if this is going to be an every year thing, and are the players going to be different every year? It kind of sounds like they would be, but I think it's going to be interesting, Also this past week on NFL Network, kind of little segment lead there. NFL Network released their last of the top 100 players for this past season. Not sure if you guys saw on Facebook or on Twitter, I kind of disagreed with the number one pick. So the top 4 picks was, number 4 was Julio Jones, number 3 was Carson Wentz, number 2 was Antonio Brown, and number 1 was the almighty one himself, Tom Brady. I do not agree with that at all. I know me and King kind of got into a little bit on Facebook over it. Here's my thing. King said to me, if I don't think he was the best player of the year, then I'm nuts. Here's my issue with it. One, I don't know why Antonio Brown would be over Carson Wentz. Yes, he is a top 4, player this year. But how can a player who was MVP status, pretty much had the MVP locked up until he got hurt, and then all of a sudden be like, nah, you're only number 3 now. Everybody says Tom Brady is the greatest. He is he is great. He's not the greatest in my opinion. I still think I would choose Joe Montana over him. And we're not big on stats on the show. We said that a few times. But here's the thing that got to me is Carson Wentz numbers through 13 games led the league in touchdowns, led the league in passing yards. I think he led the league in quarterback rating. When he went down, those last 3 games that the Eagles played, saw how much Wentz meant to that team. Granted, yes, they went to the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl, Nick Foles played great in the playoffs, but those first 3 games in the regular season, he wasn't that great. Tom Brady, for the regular season, only beat out Wentz with passing yards by 500 yards, which basically is, if you want to say, 2 games worth of yards. Now remember, Wentz did not play the last 3 games. Tom Brady only had 1 more passing touchdown than Wentz. So it took him 3 games to surpass Wentz. King made the comment to me that if Tom Brady got hurt, they would have lost in the first round. He would have lost either way. Because, Nick Foles beat him in the Super Bowl anyways. But, yes, they would have lost to the first round. He got them to the first round. If Wentz did not play those 13 games, they would never made it to the playoffs. He was the most valuable player to that team. And that's another reason why I hate some of these awards nowadays, because most valuable player, it means, to me, if you take that player away from that team, how valuable was he? And those last 3 games of the season showed just how valuable Carson Wentz was to that team. So for them to say that Tom Brady is better than Carson Wentz or Julio Jones or Antonio Brown, was Tom Brady better than Antonio Brown and Julio Jones? I'll say yeah, I'll agree to that, but he wasn't better than Carson Wentz. And I'm curious to see what everybody else's opinions out there about this is. So if you want to hit us up over on Twitter or Facebook, even our website, staytunesports.wordpress.com, and let me know. Maybe King has some supporters with this. Maybe I have some supporters with this. I just don't think Brady was the better player between those 2. Man, I can't wait till football comes though. Hopefully by that point that me and King will have this whole connection thing worked out, because you guys will love it. We really get into each other and take the gloves off and take some serious shots at each other. But as for this week, I think that's going to be it for us this week. It was fun being back. I'm going to have another one next week, even though the 4th is on Wednesday. We'll record on Thursday and probably have a post on Friday. So with that being said, you can follow me on Twitter at Jimbo ST Sports. You can follow the show at ST Sports Podcast. And you can follow King at King of Skunk Duck. Check his shirts out. He has some nice ones out. He has some ones from the past that you guys might like. And if, even if you're looking for some graphic designs, he does that as well. Hit him up. With that all being said, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.